Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Thiru. I'm here with Will Holmes. We know that we are in the middle of a global pandemic, and even at the local level, we want to do as much as we can to do our part. All infectious diseases have one thing in common. Accurate, clear information is the best weapon against them. At moments of crisis, we need calm, clear, compassionate leadership across all levels of government. Governor Hogan, no matter what your party is, has provided a case study in leadership in his response to this crisis. We're going to do our part. We're going to provide a daily briefing with some basic information that we're going to share, and each day we're going to bring an expert on to share some information about a particular issue. I'm going to start by giving you some up-to-date information about where we are. As of March 20th, 2020, the latest information on the local websites as well as the Johns Hopkins coronavirus update page has 11 confirmed cases in Baltimore, nearly 150 cases in the state of Maryland, and over 15,000 cases, according to the New York Times, across the country. We know this is a major crisis, and the state continues to take immediate, important actions every day. Earlier today, Governor Hogan signed an emergency order that will enable Medicaid providers to be paid for providing services via telehealth. Additionally, Governor Hogan and the Governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo, have asked Congress to pass the COVID-19 federal relief plan that would provide at least $150 billion in direct aid to states, with maximum discretion to governors on how the money is utilized. Yesterday, Governor Hogan prohibited gatherings of 10 or more people. In addition to the closings of bars, restaurants, hotels, gyms, and casinos, the governor ordered yesterday the closing of all enclosed malls and entertainment venues, as well as limited access to BWI Airport only for ticketed passengers as well as employees. I should note, of course, that this is not the only crisis that is afoot in Baltimore. In the past 7 days, there have also been 6 homicides in our city. Today, we're going to talk with Will Holmes. Will is the newly anointed chairman of the board for the Baltimore City Chamber of Commerce. We're going to talk specifically about the impact of the virus on business here in Baltimore and across the country, and what small businesses and those who have been acutely affected by this can do about it. Will, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Why don't we start, and I'm going to ask you to speak as loud as you can. I'm going to ask you to start by telling us broadly what you've seen with respect to the impact of the epidemic on businesses here in Baltimore.
Well, in a general sense, people are very, very, very scared. Many businesses, in fact, about 50% of the businesses I've spoken with over the last 3 days, they're not prepared for their workers, or they're not really able for their workers to work virtually or remotely. That, of course, is a problem. Also, of course, many of these businesses have had to shut down, either because they're in the tourism or the event industry. People are canceling events, so they are looking at no revenue coming in over the next 30, 60, 90 days, and of course they're considering having to let people go or lay them off. Workers, people who are employees, are very, very concerned about the stability of their jobs, and in fact, what I read earlier today, that last week was the highest week of unemployment registrations I think on record. So overall, anecdotally, people are very, very worried, and they are hoping for assistance from the state, federal, and local government.
Well, I know it's early, but do we have any numbers around how much of an impact this is having on our local or national economy?
Actually, yes. Fortunately, my client, Goldman Sachs, they did a survey over the last few days. And let me just share a few of the numbers they shared with me. 51% of businesses say that they will not be able to operate if they do not even get enough revenue more than 3 months. 96% said that they've already been impacted by COVID-19. 75% say their businesses have been impacted by fewer sales. 53% say their employees don't have the ability to telecommute. 13% are confident that their contingency plan to meet their needs is sufficient, only 13%. and about 67% are very uncertain as to how they're going to be able to access capital and apply for any type of funding, and about 75% feel like they have no voice whatsoever when it comes to getting assistance from government.
Well, I saw that Walmart was announcing that it was going to have coronavirus testing centers in their parking lots, that they were hiring nationwide an additional 150,000 employees because of the uptick in individuals trying to buy purchases from their stores. Are there industries that are hiring, that are doing better, so to speak, in light of this crisis, that folks that are impacted might be looking to for employment opportunities?
Yes. So what I've seen so far and heard from some of our chamber members is that if you are in the IT industry and they are swamped right now with businesses trying to convert to a remote environment or put their information into the cloud. Delivery, FedEx, food delivery, they are very, very busy right now. Also, industries that have to do with supporting healthcare, they're definitely seeing an uptick. And of course, any industries that supply any kind of cleaning supplies, the cleaning industry is doing really well right now. Security, I'm seeing an uptick there as well. So, and that's just in the chamber. And then, of course, nationwide, we're seeing an uptick in marijuana industry. I'm seeing the stocks go up there. I'm also seeing an uptick when it comes to, of course, anything with having to do with delivery or online sales. People are doing well.
How are you communicating with the members of the chamber here in Baltimore? What guidance are you giving them?
Well, fortunately, before this happened, we've always maintained a level of constant communication. People can always schedule a call with me one-on-one anytime through the auto scheduler, but also every week I put out a message every single Monday morning. So we've been in constant communication, and normally we have 3 in-person meetings a month. However, we're going to switch those over to virtual meetings now to keep everyone informed. The good thing is we're really built for this, except that normally we only talk to 2 or 3 people maybe a week who are having an economic downturn. Now we're talking to 15 to 20. So we're providing the same service, it's just at a much higher level.
Okay. Now, we know that there's been some relief packages that have been authorized at the state and federal level, and there's more hopefully on the way. If you're a small business that has been affected by this, can you walk through what they should be what they should be doing, what steps they should be taking to lay the groundwork for getting relief or to obtain relief immediately?
Well, yes. So, in fact, I'm glad you asked that because we put a lot of this information on our website, BaltimoreCityChamber.org. So if you go there, there's actually a page dedicated to resources. But in particular for the SBA, they have...
That's small businesses.
Yes, Small Business Administration. But, I mean, any business should at least consider looking into it. But that's the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program. They are offering 30-year loans, up to 30 years to pay it back, up to $2 million. But, of course, you still need to have a certain level of credit. You should have some kind of collateral. And, I mean, of course, there are guidelines that you must meet. So if you go to our website, there's an easy link you can click to go and read all of the information.
Well, let's be very specific about this. So we're going to go to your website and find out information. But if you are a local restaurant that knows it's going to struggle, should they be making contact with a private bank first? Do they need to contact this loan program first? What are their first steps over the next week?
I think the first steps, they should probably talk to their creditors first and try and work out some type of payment plan. I know that I would rather be paid slowly than not paid at all, and that may give them some time in order to be able to stay open and continue to keep people employed. I would say do that first. Then, of course, probably talk to your accountant or your financial advisor and see what your options are as far as how much you have in the bank and what you can do. Then I would probably talk to your bank. Hopefully you have a relationship with your bank and you've built that relationship up so you can look at lines of credit. Obviously the best time to get money is when you don't need it, but obviously people are in need now. And then of course they should, if the options don't look that good, then they should look at, they should go to the unemployment insurance website if they have to look at laying people off. And really I would just highly recommend, because these are people, everyone is being affected, to talk to your employees and just have an honest conversation about where we are and what we may need to do so that they're going to be okay and so the company can hopefully stay open and hopefully rehire them at some point.
I gotta say, it's been inspiring to see the Baltimore community come together to try to support our small businesses. You know, you've seen folks online provide a list of the restaurants that are still providing takeout or delivery services to try to support them. You've seen an encouragement of purchasing gift cards so you can smooth out the revenue stream, so the cash flow is still coming in for some of these restaurants that may be out of business for a couple of months. You've seen people stepping up and hiring folks that are suddenly unemployed by virtue of these closings. Our team had a night where we each committed to going out and getting takeout from one of the restaurants to highlight the fact that these restaurants are still providing food. What can people in the Baltimore community do to help support the business community? What else can we do that maybe we're not thinking of?
I think that everything that you listed was just really important. I do have to say, everyone should first take care of themselves first. You should take care of yourself and your family, make sure your financial situation is okay. Then when you think about just really supporting the businesses that you normally support, I think it's just really important. If you normally buy food, continue to buy food. If you normally, obviously travel, things like that are restricted, but just keep doing what you've been doing as much as you can. Don't hurt yourself financially, but just try and keep those same behaviors going as you can. Those businesses really depend on it.
I want to ask a last couple of questions. We know that the businesses are affected. We know the employers are affected. We know some employers are in a position to step up to help their employees. Some are not.
Yes.
And we have a lot of unemployment. You mentioned that the rates have skyrocketed. We're hearing and seeing some of the highest unemployment rates nationwide in a long time. What should the folks that are suddenly unemployed be doing? Can you sort of walk through the steps for those individuals that are affected as well?
Well, unemployment insurance. That's the reason it's there. They should. In fact, if you Google unemployment insurance here in Maryland, you can easily get to the website, and you can actually apply online or via phone as well. And then you can start to receive benefits while you're actually unemployed. I believe in most cases you have to go to some kind of training while you're looking for jobs, and then of course that can be extended, but that's really based on the government deciding to do that. But they should look at those options. They should also, of course, look at how can I retool my skills. It's just one of the things when you have a market correction is that sometimes businesses become obsolete, skills become obsolete, and it's important that you stay up to date. So they should look at educational programs, training programs, other things they can do in order to be better prepared for this economy.
I think there's a lot of uncertainty, and people don't know whether we're in the second inning or the sixth inning, whether this is a single game or a doubleheader. It's a lot to take in. It seems like we're still at the early stages of this compared to where other countries have gone. Are there any advice, any counsel, any instincts that you have for what we should think about with respect to our long-term recovery in terms of our economy?
Well, I think that I remember when I started my company 15 years ago, talking about the importance of being able to work remotely and trying to convince business owners the value of it using the internet. I think now, today, people are being forced to do that in many industries. So one, embrace the internet. Embrace workers working remotely. And do what you can in order to be able to ensure that if we go to more of a delivery-based economy, that you're prepared, because that's where we're going. And so that's first, I think. And then second, business owners and people in general should be looking to see where they can fill a need. If you are a business and your business is not doing well right now, you should reach out to your customers and see what their needs are, so see how you can be better attuned. If you are a person now looking for work, you should be analyzing the economy and seeing where you can get in and make the most money you can to take care of yourself and your family. Things have changed and we have to adjust with it.
Will, how can people reach you if they want to follow up or have additional questions or suggestions?
Well, anyone who's in the business community or anyone who's listening, if you go to the BaltimoreCityChamber.org website, you can actually schedule a call, one-on-one call with me. There's no cost to do that. I'll be more than happy to talk to you. We can discuss your options. And that's if you're a chamber member or not. And then what I always try and do, what the chamber does, is we try and connect you to resources. So when we talk, whatever you need, I'll connect you with someone who I know will do a good job, and we'll see if we can get you connected with you so you can be okay.
These are uncertain times. These are hard times. We know that. It's not a time to trade criticisms, it's a time to remain optimistic. I hope it's been helpful to hear from Will Holmes some suggestions for what both small businesses and those who are acutely affected by the change in the economy can do. We're going to continue to try to keep upbeat about this. Moments like this have affected Baltimore City and places across the world, not for the first time, not for the second time, but throughout history. We get through it. We come together, we invent, we innovate, we come up with better ways to handle ourselves. This is going to be a hard moment. But I'm so grateful for optimists and pragmatists and leaders like Will, who are willing to step up and to have this conversation with the public in a somber, clear, lucid, and compassionate way. Thank you so much, Will, for being here. In the days to come, we will continue this. We'll start taking questions from the audience as we start falling into a rhythm. We're going to try to do this every day at 1:30, even on the weekends, just so you have some clear updates and from information. If you're interested in being a guest on here, let us know. If you are interested in having specific questions or subjects covered, please let us know, and we'll continue to communicate as clearly and as constructively as we can during this moment of crisis, but also a moment for us to show how strong our community is. Thank you, Will. Thank you, everyone.